WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I have the second Edradour 22-year-old. This time, though, I have a vintage 1990 from a Barolo Cask Finish. Ooh. So there's always a story to these. So first of all, the specs. Whiskybase number 196756. This goes for a price over here in Germany for about 265 euros. And I'm going to compare it to something that is also a 22-year-old, and that is not in a red wine cask, but rather in a sherry cask. This was 328 euros, and I loved it. Now, both of these whiskeys were originally distilled in the year 1999. But then something happened to both of these whiskeys, and they were both re-racked or recasked. So this received a finish, much longer than the original maturation in bourbon, in Oloroso sherry butts, and this received its, let's just read the story. So it says here, distilled in 1999, the spirit was initially matured in ex-bourbon hogsheads for 13 years, before being re-racked or recast into a small batch of 7 freshly dumped premium Barolo hogsheads. I did not know that they use hogsheads. I thought they used barriques. On the 9th of August 2013. Cask number 830 and 832. Where's 831? We don't know, or at least I don't know. Were selected for this bottling, and the whole was finished in those casks for 97 months. Okay, 97 months, 8 years and 1 month. So that's very, very good. So I am not a big red wine with my whiskey fan. So I'm very, very certain that this whiskey here is I'm gonna like it much better. So I poured a little bit for me too much. So this is going to be my nipping whiskey, and this is going to be my whiskey with water. So don't worry about that. Now, so what we have here is this was actually distilled on the 9th of August. Wow. And it was bottled on the 26th of August, 2021. 567 bottles in total, and basically it's in the UK and it's in Germany at the moment. Will it make it to other countries? I don't know. All right, so on the nose, I get a very dark, almost artificial type of cherry. Not C, no, it's C-H-E-R-R-Y, cherry, not S-H, sherry. It's a cherry. It's an artificial type of cherry, almost a grape moment. There is a little bit of a tartness to it, so it's a little bit like a cranberry. And there's a tiny, tiny little bit here of something else going on, and it's more of a currant. Yeah, red currant moment. So if you've ever had red currants that are not yet perfectly mature, not totally ripe, you do know that sour moment, that shock. And a little bit of that I'm getting in here. All right, so it's non-chilled filter, it's natural color, it's very, very nicely done. Thank you very much. And yet, I just know that this is so, keep it going, so much better. Just because of the casks we use, my wheelhouse. Yummy, yummy. Let's see here. On the nose, it's got that tart sourness in there. It's got that red wine going on there. It's got those fruits, those currants, and those cranberries, and so on. So the official tasting notes say a lot what I just mentioned here. It says here, mahogany in color, yes. This whiskey is full-bodied, whatever that means, with notes of red currants, jelly, maple syrup, and cranberries. I don't get any maple syrup. Now, I've had some flavored maple syrups. I think it was maybe grape or some type of red berry type of flavor. That maybe, but not maple syrup, my personal opinion. So, some water brings out spiced cinnamon apples and cloves, long sweet finish fading to sugared almond puree, potato, mashed potatoes. You had mashed almonds. Never had that. Never had my almonds mashed up before. All right, so let's try this. 55 56.2, 55.8. Cheers. Astringency. Wow, there is the tartness in there. There is that red wine moment definitely going on. Is it my wheelhouse? No. There is a sweetness towards the end, but there's also a rush of like an artificial cherry moment. I don't know where that artificial moment comes from. It's a little like a petrochemical type of artificial moment going on here. Absolutely not my wheelhouse. Now, I'm sure there's people out there that go, Jason, this sounds exactly like what I love. I love to have here my red wine with my red wine finish in my old single malts from Scotland. Ta-da! This is it. Much cheaper than this, so go for that instead. Both same age. Nope, not mine. What I did last year is I actually did a challenge. I did a blind tasting where I had all the different types of sherries, and I actually made my own whiskeys with those different types of sherries. So everyone got a sample of the different types of sherry, and everyone got a sample of the whiskey that was actually, I think I put 7% sherry into that, let it set for a couple of weeks, and then sent out samples of each, and we tried them blind versus each other. I think there were 7 or 8 samples. It was fantastic. I learned so much. And while drinking this, it was like, I need to do that with this. I need to take some type, there must be like 3 or 4 different brands of a red wine that are usually used for the whiskey finishing. Take a rum, take a Sultan, take a port, take a ruby, take a Tawny port, and just mix those things up and do that, and do also blind tasting and see what happens there. I'm going to have to do that next year, or this year, sorry, 2020. It is already in this year, sorry. And I'd like to do that because this really brought me on that idea to tone my attention to what I like and what I don't like and what happens with whiskeys when we actually add something to them. It's not the perfect thing, there's no wood added and so on, but it is a good laboratory type of experiment, and people get to, whoever wants to in Germany that I can send the samples to legally, can also participate in that. We'll see when I'll do that. But the thing that happens is there's a long bitterness in my mouth. That tannin type of red wine tartness is there the entire time. And if I went over to this one, I did that in my German video, and I actually washed my mouth out twice, and I tried this. It was still there. It's a long-lasting finish. Yay! It's not my favorite finish, though. What I am starting to get is if I wait about 2 to 3 minutes with the finish, I do get a little bit of that apple, cinnamon, clove moment going on there. Added some water, brought it down to about 48%. No, I didn't. I brought it down to 50. Now I brought it down to about 48%. I still get that like an artificial cherry lollipop moment here. It's amazing how dry this is, how astringent this is. Now, I like a good Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's somewhat dry, but it's never that has that astringency. It never just makes you pucker up. This makes me pucker up here. I'm going to give it a C. Value for money, 268 euros. It's a D in my book. I would not recommend buying this. Now, as I mentioned before, if it's your wheelhouse, go for it. But if I was me, I would buy this any day in the world, even though it's way too expensive for my pocket and for my my reasoning. Some people say when our taste buds have a festival in our mouth, our reasoning is just turned off, and that's basically what happens with this one. All right, so I'm not even going to try it. I'm not even going to ruin this experience with this still in my finish and then my palate here. I'm going to wait about 10 minutes, maybe eat something, come back to this, and just enjoy it. On the nose? Yeah. This is my A+ whiskey of the year. Yay. I thoroughly enjoy it. All right, thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for liking. Thank you very much for writing down which whiskeys you prefer. Which one is your favorite red wine, finished or full maturation in a single malt Scotch? It could be it could be Irish, it could be Japanese, it could be European, it could be American. I don't care. All right, it doesn't have to be single malt Scotch. But which one do you prefer? I don't prefer any of them so far. I can't even remember anything that was like fantastic. I was like, oh, that's interesting, that's good, that's okay, but the sherry is something I prefer a lot better. Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, tell others, and don't forget to share. All the best. Bye-bye.